There we go. There we go. There we go. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the pre-market prep session for March 21st, 2024. Almost 3 months through 2024. Make sure that you're continuing to knock out your goals and close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And this is a good place to be in order to do that. The Stock Options Made Easy community, focusing on getting 1% better each and every day. And that's what we do via this session. So if you're here yesterday, hopefully you took that information, you leveraged it in order to get paid. When it comes to Fed days, if you fade the first move most often, you'll be better off, and your account will be greener than when you open it up. And that was the same case yesterday. The first move, when Powell got on, was to the downside. You wait until we get to a predetermined support level, like pre-market high, for example. You go long, meaning you grab calls, and then you let the market do its thing. The key thing about having someone who's experienced or having a mentor is that you don't have to go through all of the trials and tribulations yourself in order to connect the dots and come up with certain ways to play certain events, right? That's one of the most underrated parts of this is that it has taken me years, and I'm a very, very observant person. Some people you can go and spend years and still never observe, right, and make some of those connections that have been made. So it's very important for you to understand that um, success leaves a blueprint. Right. So you can expedite years of trial and error just by getting in the same environment as someone who has done it and is doing it at a level that you want to do it at. Right. And that's what this community is all about, being around people that are looking to get better. They're looking for those little details, right? Looking for those little hacks, not trying to hack ourselves out of doing the work, because that's an unfortunate side effect of, 2024. Everybody, you're going to hack yourself out of a life. We don't want to do any work. We don't want to do anything, right? That's not possible, but we can make your journey a lot easier, right? And that's really what we're all about here. So make sure you throw your one in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better. That's what we're looking to do each and every day. I learned the proper term for that is actually Kaizen, right? That idea of daily improvement, even if it's just by 1%. So I'm not a tattoo guy. Only one in my family without tattoos. But if I did get one, it would probably have something to do with that, because as you know, it's what I say each and every day, right? And if we stick to it, amazing things happen. So let's dive into what we got going on for today. Our top news, also, by the way, sitting here on the new computer. So I spent this morning getting that set up. And I am amazed at the difference a little RAM upgrade can make. So very excited to get to work on this thing. But the IPO market has been pretty quiet over the past 2 years, but that may be about to change. Investors witnessed a successful debut for AI chip play Astera Labs, ticker ALAB, on Wednesday, which soared 72% in its first session. And suspense is building for another possible one today. Reddit, ticker RDDT, one of the oldest and most popular social sites on the web, will list on the New York Stock Exchange this morning. And if all goes well, it can signal that interest in new issues has finally made a comeback. By the numbers, pricing at the high end of its targeted range, Reddit shares will be marked at $34 a piece, giving the company a valuation of $6.4 billion, including exercised options. The figure is around half the $10 billion valuation it reached in 2021, but that was during the era of cheap money and speculative boom that followed the onset of the COVID pandemic. Also with the Vision Fund and Masayoshi Son and all this foreign money, coming into the venture capital space. Meanwhile, the social media platform, which had 267.5 million weekly active users as of December 31st, generated 804 million in revenue in 2023, up around 21% from a year ago, while its net loss narrowed to 90.8 million from 158.6 million in 2022. Reddit has reserved as much as 8% of its offering for power users, including its army of mods who help guide and create the platform's many communities. You see here, other oversubscribed shares will go to institutional investors, but getting the retail crowd involved is prompting speculation that RDDT could turn into a meme stock with increased volatility or a major run-up that could leave unfortunate holders holding the bag. Hints of irony, Reddit forum r/Wall Street Bets was behind the meme mania that took place in 2021, which involves players from GameStop and AMC to BlackBerry and Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, show me the money. Reddit has never turned a profit in its nearly 2-decade existence, but it is touting some big plans ahead of the IPO. Quote, we believe there is an emerging opportunity in data licensing to train AI models. Noted the company, which recently inked an AI content agreement with Google and could bring in more deals to help train large language models. Reddit is also planning to build features like a marketplace for products and services and projected its total addressable market for global advertising to be 1.4 trillion by 2027. Yeah, I mean, you guys know my take, short and sweet on that. IPO equals it's probably overpriced. I'm never buying an IPO. I don't care what the IPO is. Wait, and the stock will go down, right? And even with Astera Labs, yesterday, cool, right? I still maintain that same position. Soar 72% on your first day. That's amazing. I'll wait. In terms of economic news, hat trick. The Federal Reserve continues to expect. I was about to do something like cool, but then I had a brain fart. Anyways, 3 interest rate cuts this year was going just too fast for my mouth was moving too fast. Compared to what my brain tried to do. But according to its closely watched dot plot released on Wednesday, that was enough to push Wall Street to fresh record highs, while gold also soared to a new record, jumping above $2,200 an ounce. Meanwhile, the FOMC's policy rate remained unchanged at 5.25 to 5.5%. But Jay Powell warned that bumpy inflation may mean rates could be restricted for longer and dialed back on the scope of cuts in 2025 and beyond. Speaking of monetary policy, the Swiss National Bank got a head start on the Fed overnight, surprising investors with the first rate cut for developed countries. So the Swiss led the way here. They broke that plane. They're the first of the developed countries to cut interest rates. It's a good sign, right? We didn't have any hawkish rhetoric from Powell yesterday. So far, kind of what we've been thinking in that mindset has been correct, right? An election year, nobody wants to bear the brunt of having extra high interest rates during an election year. And, if they can even time that closer to, when the voting starts or when we head to the polls, even better, right? So if they say that we're going to get 3 cuts this year, we're already, what is it, a quarter of the way through the year? We're going to get them at some point, right? Probably starting this summer. And yeah, the market liked what it heard. Again, we faded the first move, made money off those SPY calls. Those zero dates ran up, right? Lottos ran up. We had Apple calls and a number of other calls on the long swing front that have been continuing to pay for us. So we've been playing this week very well, right? And it's I always say but it's important to note that every single week is different and it might require a new strategy or some new tailoring, right? And we ended up taking more of a stance on swings over the course of the past 2 weeks and just letting things that are going to go up without us having to constantly be in lottos and riding them up, right? So FCX, MasterCard, a number of different tickers where you get in, you let them continue to pay over the course of the days and the weeks. And then if there's good opportunities for shorter term trades like with SPY or with Apple, right, you take advantage of them. Same thing with BAC. Disney, right? Disney call swings paying up for us that we got in earlier this week, those long call swings. So, you let the long calls do the heavy lifting at certain points, and then you let the short term stuff do the heavy lifting at some points. And that ability to switch gears is what allows you to remain viable regardless of what the market is doing. Because again, look at SPY. We've been stuck in the same range for 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks of just movement with absolutely no continuation in one direction or another. As soon as you think we're going to keep going down, we go up. As soon as you think we're going to keep going up, we go down, right? I've got the antidote for that. Find very strong individual names on the weekly where the buyers have overwhelmed the sellers and will continue to push higher as long as the market doesn't want to poop itself, right? That's the way to do it. In terms of defense news, hypersonic testing. The U.S. Air Force has conducted the final test of an air-launched hypersonic missile developed by Lockheed Martin, but it did not specify the speed at which the weapon flew or the test's objectives. Comes amid warnings that America is lagging behind similar programs from Russia and China, despite increased budgets for defense spending. Hypersonics are being designed to evade defense systems while flying at speeds greater than Mach 5. The objective for them is to travel at such a high velocity and low altitude that make them difficult to intercept, while they can maneuver in flight compared to the fixed suborbital trajectories of ballistic missiles. So this is us trying to catch up with Russia, right? They've got them and they've used them. New technology, brain computer interface. Elon Musk's Neuralink has released a clip featuring the first patient with its brain chip implant. Noland Arbaugh, a 29-year-old quadriplegic patient who received the device in January, was able to move a computer cursor to play chess using only neural signals. While the demonstration wasn't the first brain in the brain implant field, Neuralink's device goes deeper into the brain and contains far more electrodes that target individual neurons instead of groups or clusters, which is pretty wild. Most of Neuralink's competitors are also not publicly traded, including Synchron, Onward, Precision Neuroscience, and BlackRock Neurotech. In terms of today's markets, looking mostly green as of right now. We've got in Asia, Japan, we're up 2%, Hong Kong up 1.9, China down 0.1, India up 0.8, London up 0.9%, Paris down 0.3, Frankfurt up 0.3, the Dow up 0.2, S&P up 0.3, Nasdaq up 0.7, crude down 0.2%, gold up 2.2%, Bitcoin up 6.3%, crude oil, right? And oil and gas being another one. With those oxy, right? Those oxy long swings / leaps, those starting to pay up as well. So a number of different things. This is just a great time to get into long swing positions. If you're someone who's sitting there and you're like, oh man, like I need to, I want to get involved in the market. I want to get involved in options, in stocks, whatever. There's no better time than right now. Every single day that you push it back, more opportunities pass you by. So just execute, just pull the trigger, right? Do what you need to do in order to get in position and go from there, and just do it the right way. If you try and run around like a rat and pick up scraps, you're going to continue to have to operate like a rat, right? Don't just pop one here and be like, oh, he mentioned this, like, let me go get this. And then you buy it at the wrong time or you don't know when to sell it and you mess it up, right? Don't do that to yourself. At the end of the day, success leaves clues. Pay to get in the room, operate like we do in the room according to our system, according to the mindset, and then close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But this constant like looking for hacks, I had a business meeting yesterday, and this is just a topic that was, kind of ongoing throughout. These like the we're going to just hack ourselves into a hole because we just don't want to do anything, right? What is the purpose of you living life if you don't want to do anything? You don't want to do literally one thing. That's not life at all. Might as well lay down in a field and just, right, become food for the grass because you don't want to get up and do anything with this life, right? A bear gets up every day, it hunts, it sleeps, it fights off other bears, right? It cares for the bear cubs. Everyone's life is full of something. So make your life full of the things that you choose for it to be full of, instead of just wanting it to be nothing because you're hacking yourself into being a slug, right? We don't want to hack ourselves into being a slug. We want to augment ourselves into being the best versions of ourselves. In terms of today's economic calendar, jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. Let's see if that's done anything here for us. All right, let's zoom in. So let me move this over. It doesn't look like that's had any big effect on us as of right now. The market hasn't really cared much, it seems like. Okay, 455. Oh, is this? I need to also go in and check on Thinkorswim right now. Need to make sure that we have updated data. It says real-time data, but it looks like it might be lagging. I don't know. We'll see. This is on the new computer, so got to make sure I have everything set up. But we get jobless claims data this morning. PMI composite flash. We have that at 9:45 a.m. So that'll be one of those things where after the bell, right, 15 minutes after the bell, we could get some volatility based off that news. And we've got existing home sales at 10. What else is happening? We'll finish up here, wrapping up with our rapid fire stock news rundown. Nearly $6 billion in student loans for public service workers to be forgiven. Paramount, ticker Para, jumps on report of $11 billion offer from Apollo. Micron, ticker MU, soars as Q2 results and guidance blow past expectations. More scrutiny, SEC seeks to classify Ether as a security. That's ETHUSD. Disney teams up with Google, Trade Desk on ad platform update. That's pretty cool. More scrutiny. DOJ plans to sue Apple over antitrust issues. Another day, another big tech lawsuit. Tim Cook visits China again, meets with suppliers amid sales pressure. Chevron, ticker CVS, pays fines for dozens of past California oil spills. Endo gets nod for Chapter 11 reorganization plan. And then ETF's top new milestones is managed assets cross 12.25 trillion globally. So that wraps us up. Put a bow on it and take us out March 21st, 2024. Not only market info, but a great tattoo idea. Yeah, that's what we're about here, right? Lots of different nuggets getting dropped each and every day. But look, guys, make sure that you're operating in the way that you want to be in 20 years would operate. That's how I always use the gauge for myself in making decisions, right? And at least how I try and do for the majority of the time. Nobody's going to be perfect. There's going to be times when you do stupid things, or you just have a weekend that you take off, or anything like that. But overall, with the majority of your time, as long as you're making decisions like the you want to be makes decisions, you'll end up being that person. And that's the aim here within the Stock Options Made Easy community. So let's make sure we get out there, we chase purpose, we chase fulfillment. The bag will come as a natural byproduct. Let's have another great day. I'll talk to you guys later. See you tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.